Over to Leicester, pretty shocking news to see Steve Cooper sacked. Could that be an expensive decision after he's only just joined the club? What kind of compensation would you expect that to look like?
Well, yes. I mean, I've been saying all along that I thought Cooper was the right type of personality for the battle that Leicester were going to have this season, but it seems he didn't mesh with the players and the owner. It's only 5 months, I think, into a 3-year contract, so there's going to be a pretty heavy compensation situation there. I think we could be getting close to double figures, uh, if not more. So yes, it's going to be an expensive decision for Leicester. I believe it was taken by the owner himself, and after the rumours of consultation with the players. And I think that's always a bit of a dangerous road for owners to go down, listening to the players and letting the players run the whole situation. But obviously, things were not happy in the group, and it gives them a chance to go forward again. But things weren't that bad. They weren't in the bottom three, and they were starting to show some signs of moving along. But obviously, personalities and football, which is a human business, are the key things sometimes.
And it does feel like he lost that dressing room rather early, but obviously such a tough place to come into. A team that was just promoted and lost their young, promising manager. Did you expect them to give him a bit of a longer leash, even with kind of such a younger dressing room in a lot of ways? Yes, they have Vardy and some other veterans, but a lot of their attackers, the players they're relying on for goals, are on the younger side.
Yeah, look, I think the squad composition was one thing, but there was also one cloud that was hanging over Steve Cooper all the time, and that was that he'd been at Nottingham Forest. And it was a bit like Rafa Benitez when he came into Everton and he'd been at Liverpool. The fans never took to him, and it does seem that he was never taken to at Leicester because of that Forest connection, because they're very close rivals, and so that was something that was a big problem for him. I think over time he would have been okay, but look, they've made the decision. It's football, and we've said many times nothing surprises you, but everything surprises you.
And who do you think will take over that job? Obviously, Leicester have had a bit of a PSR issue already this year. Is there money to bring in a top manager?
I think they'll find money. I think they have to, but straight away it was Graham Potter and David Moyes were the names in contention. But I just checked, and Ruud van Nistelrooy has come as the very, very strong favourite now to come and take over. Um, that would worry me slightly if I'm a Leicester fan. But certainly he's emerged with the bookies as a very, very clear favourite. So let's see where that goes. They're not always right, but often they are. It would be a bold appointment, and I hope they're not going off the fact he had a couple of good games with Man United. I hope they've done a bit more research than that. Certainly, Potter was talked at in the summer before Steve Cooper, and it obviously doesn't seem to be as though he's going to come back. And I think David Moyes also doesn't quite fancy the Leicester situation. I think he's waiting for something else that could possibly come up. So let's just see if Ruud van Nistelrooy gets the nod. It would be a bold decision, and I say that clearly to say that from the young owner, the Thai owner at Leicester, it would be a very tough decision and a bold one. So he'd have to keep his fingers crossed if that happens.
Yeah, bringing in an inexperienced manager to do a Premier League relegation battle feels like a bit of an overly risky move when there are some other guys out there who seemingly have done it before. But, you already sacked a manager who's been in a few relegation fights, so maybe that's not what he's looking for.
Well, obviously not, and it'll be a white knuckle ride, I think, going forward. But listen, there can be a new manager bounce, and maybe they see something in Van Nistelrooy that is there that could really do it. The players may be happy and get behind him as well as an ex-player. A lot of factors can happen. So, look, everything's a gamble. Experience doesn't always work. So sometimes a bold new appointment can pay dividends, but, buyer beware.
And a bit of an odd week continued for Leicester when their shirt sponsor, BC Game, was declared bankrupt by a court in Curacao. Do Leicester need to be worried about this, that their shirt sponsorship deal will end prematurely and more money kind of wasted and lost?
Well, the company themselves have come out with a very strong statement saying that they've appealed a court decision and they're completely sure that everything's going to be okay. They've assured Leicester that the sponsorship's fine. Look, Curacao and the legal system in Curacao is not something I'm an expert in, believe me. But I know it's a home of gaming for many years. I've been down there and seen it when I lived in the States. look, it's a difficult situation. I don't know the detail of the case, but the company themselves have been very public in coming out to say that they can appeal the decision that would have made them bankrupt. So let's wait and see. I know it's a big number for Leicester, and it would be a blow if it came through. But initial signs seem to show that it isn't quite as bad as it seemed to be at first.
And if for some reason that deal ended prematurely mid-season, are Leicester able to go out and get another shirt sponsorship deal to kind of make up for that revenue, or they're stuck with no shirt sponsor through the rest of the season?
No, they could try. There'll be somebody in the marketplace that will look at the Premier League always because of the number of eyeballs, but it will be at a fire sale price. And so there'll be a reduction in that sort of commercial revenue, which isn't going to help them with PSR. So it's something you've got to bear in mind. So they've got to hope that this appeal works and that BC can carry on and pay the bills as they'd promised to.